everybody. So before we do start, let's just get the bare basics done with. This episode is an episode of the character descriptions for Christmas. Now, some of them will be disturbing, some of them won't. So, yeah, just in case, viewer discretion is advised, because the animalization characters do have to die first in order to become, a part of the animalization. Anyways, open the door of your Advent calendar, consume whatever is in it, unless it's plastic or a toy, don't eat toys, and enjoy the video. Why, hello there everybody.
Hello, my name is Teardrop, and can I just say, please subscribe to LG, Sketchmaster and me. My fingers are hurting so much right now for 4 hours of editing. Okay, back to the video. And get better, Ollie. Closing parenthesis.
My name is Leafy, and today we're going to be talking about Martin. And goodness gracious me, is this one going to be a long one, so strap in. Also, if you hear me cough, it's because I got a cold. Anyways, so let's get into it. Martin, also known as Martin James Spintbit, was a toy maker. In fact, he was actually the owner of a company called Martin's Toys. He was a very popular toy creator. Shops like Toys R Us, Smith's Toys Superstores, Target, all of them would buy products from him because they were always of high quality and very, very cheap. His family history is quite rich in the literal sense and the figurative sense. Literally, his grandfather was the owner of a really successful car company that has gone underwater. Literally, the entire facility went underwater. And because Michael died, which is the name of Martin's grandfather, all the money was sent to Terry, Martin's dad, Martha, Martin's mother, and Martin. Obviously, this made him really sad, but he's seen it as a sign to continue. And so, he continued, until he was met by a guy called Christopher Clocksworth. And Christopher had a very intriguing offer. His proposition was, okay, I'll give you 10 million, and if the company goes well, I'll have 10% of all of your profits. That was an absolute steal, because all he would need to do is hire more people, hire more artists, and he would be set. And let me just say, he was definitely set. And by the time that Martin had fully completed his company, with a combined amount of money, Martin and Christopher would take nearly £2 million a year home. That is insane. And they would still have enough money to pay their employees 500 grand a month. Sorry, not a month, a year. Literally, this was the dream company. Unfortunately, Martha Spintbit, Martin's mum, unfortunately died on Christmas Day. But a new person was born. Their name was Daisy. And Martin seen this as a sign to take care of Daisy. Terry was in a little bit of debt because he had recently broken his leg. So Martin paid all of that off and told Terry just to lie down and just take everything easy and take it back. Martin was pretty much Daisy's father. He was like a father figure, even though he was a brother. And so he would make sure that he takes good care of Daisy while also making sure the company's fine. And then 10 years later, on the exact same day that Martha died, Daisy was drowned by a man in a big black trench coat with a hat covering his face. And security cameras showed him to be extremely pale and extremely tall. And I don't mean NBA tall, I mean nearly 7 feet tall. This guy was tall. He would walk really, really funnily as well. This broke Martin. He went home and he decided to watch some TV. And he seen something on the TV. I know who you are. I know where you live. You are mine forever. Here is a little video of what it was like.
Oh, Martin, that is what they all say. If it was you, it would be sad. I have known you for a long time. I want nothing of you.
I know what you are. You're an intruder.
I am not.
You've just come here to take everything I've got. Haven't you?
I am not an intruder. I do not want anything.
I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe you whatsoever.
You just don't see it. Look at the television. Look at it. 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 Look at me.
A few days later, the police came in to Martin's home. They were told that an incident had occurred. There was Martin, on the sofa, with a bullet wound in his head, which seemed to be a self-inflicted suicide. But it was not. It was a murder. By who? Optomenonics and Flux Chronographic. Flux gained the trust of Martin by being Christopher Clocksworth. And he knew that he had just ended this man's career. Optomenonics managed to infect Terry and gave him optomicracin. After being put in a hospital, he died and regain consciousness. We won't be getting into Terry at the moment, but let's just say he's strong enough to rip a man's jugular out, which he did to 7 people. Martin wakes up in a dark void, and he can see a massive eye. Well, well, well. Look what the cat brought home. This was Darkfire. Martin didn't have any other choice. He held his hand out, and he was turned into a Darkfire. But Martin wasn't stupid. He knew that he was somewhere called the Dreamscape. You see, Martin had a stepbrother called Michelangelo, and Michelangelo was a big conspirator, and he managed to show Martin how to get into the Dreamscape. When a man dies, their soul gets lost in the Dreamscape and led to the pearly white gates. That's what it says, but that's not true. A weird man known as Nick will guide you in and tell you which one would you rather, man or animal. And Martin knew he was in the Dreamscape, a deep part of the Dreamscape. So, he knew what he needed to do. He thought about it long and hard, and when Darkfire was just about to completely infect him, bang! Martin summoned a shotgun, shooting Darkfire directly in the eye. His words exactly, "You ain't infecting me." Martin managed to escape, and he found the notorious Nick Gravestone, and with a very raspy voice, "I know who you are. You're that Martin Spintbit, aren't you? Your sister hasn't stopped talking about you for a long time now. Come on, Martin. You deserve to go with your sister. Follow me, and I'll show you where she is." He finds a world unlike any other. He's on the floor, and he looks up. He feels funny. He feels extremely warm. So he looks down, and he sees he doesn't have any arms, no biceps. But he does look. He has hands, and he can push them as much and as far as he wants. He tries to pick something up, but it instantly turns into ash. And he finds a discarded mirror. He picks up the pieces and looks at himself. Oh my god. I've turned into my character. Martin had become a distorted version of his own little character. He was Martin, but at the same time, he wasn't. He didn't have the Martin Rabbit logo on his stomach, but he had this weird diamond shape with a spot in the middle and 4 lines, 2 lines on each side. He would soon learn that this is the scar of a Darkfire. And if you have the scar of a Darkfire, that means you are very, very powerful. And so, he accidentally bumped into a really tall creature. This creature was about at least 10 foot tall. He looks behind him, and he shrinks his size. He looks at him and says, "Aren't you that Martin fellow Daisy's been talking about?" And Martin, obviously confused how this weird diamond-shaped thing knows what or who Daisy is, he asks, how do you know what my sister is? And I went, probably time that you learned. You're dead, and you've been corrupted by one of my brothers. Luckily, you seem strong enough to defeat my brother. Congrats. Both Martin and Leafy talk. But then Leafy starts convulsing and tells a little short little guy called Greeny to go and take Martin over to a hollowed out tree. Close the door and don't come out until sunrise. Martin looks out in horror and sees this originally green thing suddenly turn pitch black. Its two black dots for eyes fusing together and turning into a big bloodshot eye, and its mouth completely encasing its body. He sees its limbs turn from a pitch black to a blinding white, and he sees the creature grow. A crack forms where its mouth should be, and a massive roar erupts. A little short fox girl, who looks kind of square, came up to Leafy and said, I think you know what you're doing this for. It was a blood moon. And a blood moon is one of the worst times in the woodlands. But we'll continue Martin's story tomorrow. To be continued. Leave a like, subscribe, and remember, I always come back, because I'm Leafy. Looks like I have got to leave. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for part 2. Goodbye for now.